I posted something on Instagram the other day. If you follow me, I had written it on my little whiteboard and I put, is your relationship with God only as deep as your feelings? And I said that because recently I just kind of been exactly that, in my feelings. And my relationship with God has just like suffered heavily because of it. And it's not really, you know, feelings of, I don't know, like sadness or anything like that. It's more just not being motivated, or, not feeling the need to pray or to read my word or to, to worship, to spend my time with them. And I've been writing a lot too. I have a little journal. I do my daily journal, and it's really bad because in my life, it's funny. I have, everybody in their life has ups and downs. And for me, when I'm in my very low points in life, that's when my relationship with God really flourishes. Like, I'm just like, I have to, because I know I have to dig in. Like, I'm in this crappy place, so I have to, like, spend time with God to get out of it, because He's the only one that's going to pull me out. But when I'm good, when things get better and things are more positive, it suffers because I get so comfortable and so complacent that I don't spend the time I know I need to spend with God. And this is just like kind of due to me just being undisciplined, not being disciplined in my relationship with God. But I wrote that because it just hit me because I would finally spent time with God. It's not like I don't like not spend time with Him, but there's just levels. When I first kind of, quit my job and was like, okay, I'm just going to pursue God, every day was just super deep. Like, I'm spending hours on end in prayer and reading my word. And that was like my daily routine, was just that. And then I finally started getting comfortable. Okay, I'm going to be okay. We're going to figure this out, more peace, more, less stress. But in that comfort, I start to slack because I'm like, okay, I'm good. Like, I don't feel like I need God, even though I would never say that. And I think most Christians would be like, yeah, I'm not. It's not like, oh, I don't need God. But we internally subject ourselves to this idea that, like, I'm gonna be good because I feel good, and yet that's not why we're gonna be okay. We're not gonna be okay just because we feel like we're gonna be okay. And so I just had to, like, put that out there, even as a reminder to myself, to be like, don't just get comfortable. And it's reminded me to be disciplined. And I kind of want to just speak to that, like, to be disciplined in your relationship with God, because it's not even just your relationship with God. Like, don't just be disciplined in your relationship with God, but be disciplined in the way you serve Him, and doing acts of service for the Lord, even when you don't feel like it. For me, doing these videos, I always felt like, okay, this is like I'm helping somebody. I have all these thoughts, have all these things to say. Like, I'll literally sit in my apartment and just, like, do this. No joke. I will just talk like this in my apartment. I probably look like a psycho. But I just know, like, that's how I know this is something that needs to be poured out. This is not something that I should just be in my apartment speaking to myself. Like, that's selfish. And we're not here to be selfish and use these things to serve ourselves. And so I understand, okay, I have to put this out there. But I've been slacking even in this. Like, I haven't even sat down to do this in like 2 weeks because I feel good. I'm all right. I'm going to be okay. But it's just so lazy, and it's such a lack of discipline. And I knew even yesterday, I wanted to come out here and do this, but I didn't. And God's funny. He's a funny guy. He has ways of reminding you, like, hey. And so this morning, like, literally just not even an hour ago, I went straight from there to here. I went to the store. I don't usually go to the store in the mornings. I kind of used to, but not lately. But I went to the store this morning, just on a whim. Okay, hey, I need to get it done. I'm gonna go get it done. And as I go to check out, these people come up to me and they're like, hey, we're giving back to the community. Do you mind if we pay for your groceries? And so I was like, hey, I'm not going to stop. Like, absolutely. And, they did that. And I go to my car. And it's just funny. Like, even now as I just think about it, it's funny. Like, I feel like I live in this place of worry. I think like my whole life I've kind of just lived with a subconscious worry and anxiety that just kind of sits and I don't ever really get rid of it. It's never really been gone. And yet there's times when I spend time with God and you feel his presence, you feel his peace. And so I know there's another level. I know there's another way. I know anxiety and worry is not your only state you have to live in. But after those times, after I spend that time with God and I feel that peace, I go back to my daily routine. I get hit with it's like my default settings are worry and anxiety for whatever reason. I think it's just habitual. But in that worry and stuff, it's just funny because I haven't been praying and asking God to, help me do this, help me do that. I haven't even like really been spending, like I said, that much time with him as I know I should, or doing this. And then I go to the store and it's like God's still showing me like I'm gonna take care of you. Like, whispering in my ear, hey, I'm still here. Like, like, what are you doing to serve me right now, Drew? Like, what have you been doing lately? And then I don't know. It's just funny. Like, we don't have to live in worry and anxiety. I guess it just kind of hit me this morning how different life can really be. You don't have to be living in worry and anxiety. Your default settings don't have to be like negative emotions. You don't have to live in a negative, horrible emotional state. And I truly think that Jesus didn't come to just free us from sin, but he took on everything, the anxiety, the pressure, the pain that sin brings. He took that with him as well. He endured it all, and it's not in vain. And we may feel those things in this life, but I don't think that should be our default settings. I think that's unhealthy. I think that's why we suffer so much from, mental issues and all these health, like psychological health issues that society deals with, is because we take on so much burden that's not our responsibility. And I think we grow up and you kind of grow up in the world thinking, oh, I have to make it and I have to provide for myself and I have to do all these things. But like the truth is, like, if you really have a relationship with Christ, God will take care of you. Like, that's not something that's actually a worry that I think we as Christians should really be having, is, am I going to be okay? The resounding answer is absolutely, we're going to be okay. You look at the story of Job. He loses his family, his house, his wealth, his health. And he's wallowing in misery, and yet he's not dead. He's not even starving as far as we know. He was good, like he was okay the whole time. What, like, it may not be like what you want, of course, nobody wants to go through that, but you're okay. And I think when I get to this place of comfort, when I get to my ups, I start to feel good, but then that worry and anxiety starts coming back because I start taking on more responsibility because I feel good about myself. Like, oh, I'm good, so I'm gonna switch my mindset to I gotta make it happen and I gotta do all these things. But yet God's truth is still, I will take care of you. So I need to focus on something different. I need to focus on service. I need to focus on serving God, not taking care of myself. I truly think that as Christians, we're supposed to live selfless lives, and the fruits of that should be our reality. And this is kind of going to go off on a whole nother tangent, but might as well do it. Why not? Like that we go out and we serve and we help others. And we don't do it for money. You don't provide a service for money. You go provide a service because you're using your tools and the things God has given you to serve him. And whatever comes from that should be your reality. Wherever you get to live because of that should be where you live. However much money you get because of that, that should be your wealth. Whatever you get to eat because of that, that's your food. And we're not just going and living a life void of any service, worried about ourselves, and then dealing with the pressure of it. It's so toxic, man. It's so toxic to live in this selfish space where you only have to worry about you and your circle and what you're going through. And I say that because, like, that's my life. You know, I live in my bubble and I don't branch out. You know, I was in my apartment for like 3 days straight the other day. I didn't go outside. I was like, and I'm just looking at it now, like, what am I doing? You know, like, what am I doing to help people? And it's all because I get to this high and I'm like, I'm good. And so I feel like I can slack. I feel like I can just do this. I feel like I can whatever. But you can't, you know? That's not discipline. Discipline is not you're good and then you just resort to bad. Discipline is you're good, but you continue on. You keep fighting the good fight. You keep running the race, like Paul says. And I guess I just really love that reminder this morning that, like, I had my groceries paid for. And even though I don't really worry about money, like, outwardly, inwardly it affects you. You know, I think about it, like, it sits there. I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, you know? Like, I know, oh, I have this much time before I'm, you know, whatever. Like, I do that in my head just because I'm a guy and that's what you do. But I feel like today God was just showing me, stop tripping and go serve me. Like, stop worrying about that. Stop being lazy and go serve me. Like, I'm going to take care of you. Stop being lazy. Stop ignoring things just because, like, don't slack because you know I'm going to take care of you. You know, I fall into that too. Like, oh, God's going to take care of me, so I'm chilling. Well, you're not chilling though, because God's not going to bless someone who's not doing anything, you know? It's just funny because it's kind of like back and forth. You can not be doing something while doing something, but you can also not be doing something while you're not doing something, if that makes sense. Like, for example, in my past, when I've worked jobs and things, I haven't felt like I was doing anything for God. And I don't feel like I don't want to say I'm not being blessed, because yes, you're blessed, but I wasn't fulfilling the potential that I actually have as a human being because of who I am in Christ. And yet I was, quote unquote, doing something in the eyes of the world. And then, you know, that you have, like, where I'm at now, where it doesn't look like you're doing anything, you know, but you could be doing something in terms of service, like in doing things for the Lord, and not be doing something in the world's eyes. And then there's just not doing anything, period, and kind of just letting your life fly by and not caring. I mean, everybody can get stuck in any of this stuff. And I don't know where I'm going with this, but I was really just coming out here to talk because I knew I needed to do this after that, and I wanted to do this yesterday. But my point is, you know, I quit my job, and I don't want to say life, but I just said, you know what, forget normal society, and I'm going to just follow God and whatever he wants me to do. And then as I dug in week after week, you know, hours of prayer, writing, self-evaluation, getting hit with all this, like, I'm really present with God and I really know his calling on my life. Or I don't know his calling, but I'm here with him and I know he'll give it to me. He's given me my calling. I know exactly what it is now. And even in knowing what it is, I'm still slacking. And I think that's one of the most frustrating things for me right now, is that I'm slacking in it, because for so long I didn't know what I was supposed to do with my life. And it ate at me and I hated it. And I was like in a sunken place because of it, because I didn't know what I want to do with my, like, what have I been called to do? I didn't know. And like last week, you know, I'm writing and it hit me. Like, I just knew this is it. I know what it is. And then the rest of the week I didn't pursue it at all. And this, I mean, it's only Tuesday, so I'm not going to say, oh, this whole week, because I'm going to pursue it. But like, the fact that it's even a struggle for me to pursue it like I hate that about myself, you know? Like I hate that because it's like I've been praying for this and God has finally answered a prayer, and even through an answered prayer, it's not like I'm now motivated. And I thought that would motivate me. And that's why I'm talking about discipline, because it ties into motivation. Like we can't just go to God when we're motivated to, you know? When your life sucks and it's miserable and you have no clue what to do and everything sucks, should not be the only time you go to God. And we shouldn't only go to God when things are good. But I mean, how many of us really do that, if we're being honest? Like if you're in a high place and life is great, how many of us are really day in and day out spending an hour with God during that time of our life? I think a lot of us could look in the mirror and say, not really. I'm one of them included. And then you come crashing down. And it's funny because I think about that and then I talk to God. I'm like, man, why am I always in like a low place? It's like, well, because Andrew, that's the only time you come spend time with me. Like you only come pray and you only come seek me and you only spend time with me when your life sucks. So maybe I just need to keep you in that place so you spend time with me. There's a bird. And it's just funny. Like it's just funny because I just continually like self-evaluate and I just realize, well, duh. Like obviously God's going to keep me here if this is the only way I spend time with him, you know? So the only way to really get out of it is like, okay, I gotta be disciplined. That's the only thing gonna get you out is discipline. It's like somebody who only, you only work out when you feel motivated to. You're not gonna get in any better shape doing that, you know? It's like only eating healthy when you feel motivated to, only doing things when you feel motivated to, you know? Our relationship with God is like a marriage. Imagine in your marriage if you only showed up in your marriage when you felt motivated to. Is that love? Like love is not based off motivation. And so how can I sit here and say, "Oh, I love you, God," when I only come to you when I'm motivated to? That's so selfish. And I've been so selfish and I'm so frustrated with myself. Because it's like, how can you pursue God and still like be so bad at it, you know? It's just funny. I don't know. Just stuff like that makes me laugh because I just think about how good God is and then how prideful we can get because life gets better for us. And we're like, oh, I'm good. So I can do this and I'm this and I'm that. And then you get humbled and you go back to God. And it's like, God, why do you keep humbling me? Because you're prideful. You're prideful. Like, until you clean that up, you can't, like, why would God let you elevate? Why is God gonna let me elevate, get in any better place when I barely get anywhere and I get prideful? How are you ever gonna like get to another level if barely breaking through the level you're at, you already hit pride, you already hit selfishness? That's foolish. That's so foolish. So stay motivated, stay disciplined. And even if you're not a believer, like, this is just life principles, you know what I mean? Like, stay motivated, like, or don't stay motivated, stay disciplined. Like, we have to learn how to do things when we don't feel like doing them. It's the only way we grow. I look at it like this, and I've always said this, it's kind of been like a principle. It's probably one of the best principles I think you can kind of realize. And I'm going to have to remember how to say it because I just lost it. But you can suffer. You're going to suffer in life. You can suffer because of discipline and take on that suffering that comes with discipline in a way to improve your life. Or you can suffer by the fruits of you not being disciplined. Like, you're going to suffer either way. You can put yourself through all the sufferings and the disciplines and doing the things you don't want to do to improve your life, and it's going to be hard and it's going to suck. But the end result, the ends is better than the means. I think that's how you say that. Or you can suffer because you want to live in a comfortable, unhealthy state, and the fruits of that are going to suck. And so either way, like, you're gonna have to suffer. That's just the truth of, like, the reality of life. But we have to suffer for the benefit. And we have to be disciplined. And even when I say these things, I'm not coming out here to say this to, like, somebody else. I'm like, this is for me. And that may sound selfish, and I'm not trying to be, like, selfish about it, but I'm just saying, a lot of times the messages that I'm speaking are what I need to hear. And it's just funny that life is that way, that, like, you have to suffer no matter what. Like, you can suffer because you're going to be comfortable, and then at the end of the day, you're going to go to bed and not be happy with who you are, not be happy with what you're doing, not feel contentment, not feel joy. Or you can do the thing that you're not going to like doing, but when you're done with it, you're going to feel like, man, I achieved something. I accomplished something. And I really need to hear that, because that's where I'm at in life. I keep putting off the things I know I need to do for betterment, because I'd rather be, like, in a weird, comfortable space. And it's annoying, because even though life is uncomfortable right now, I'm still finding comfort. And I'm like, yes, you want to have a level of comfort, like a healthy comfort. But for some reason, I always tend to go to an unhealthy place of inactivity, of neglect, an irresponsible place. But it's just funny, because God paid for my groceries today. And so it's just a reminder that He's there. He's going to take care of me. He's going to take care of you. It's funny, because I brought my wallet, like, I grabbed my wallet and put it in my pocket, like, oh yeah, I'm going to need money. And then at the end of the day, I didn't need money. And it just reminded me of the verse, like, His ways aren't our ways. Like, our ways of understanding life, our ways of going about our life, our ways of making something happen, they're not His ways. He just works differently, So, be motivated, be disciplined. Don't live by motivation. I say be motivated, but don't let motivation rule your life. Let discipline rule your life. And understand God is going to take care of you with whatever you're going through. And just think that the things you think you need, you don't actually need. You don't actually need your wallet to go buy groceries, because God works differently.